Hey guys, welcome to a decidedly Neapolitan extra. This is a prototype power generation system that I've been kind of messing with to try to figure out how to do a centralized power system for my base. Now I'm not really happy with the way it's set up right now, because I've got the two power systems on levels 2 and 3, one for IC2, one for thermal, and it's just a hassle. And so what I want to do is I'm going to move the IC2 stuff up to level 2. Remember, level 1's where my bed is and my sleeping quarters and that sort of place there. Level 2 is going to be sort of my crafting center, and then level 3 is going to be the power system. And I'm going to put it on level 3 because I can run power down as I build levels down, and then I can run it back up to 2. So I'm just going to have the one power system. But using the magma dynamos and stuff, it was just I was just not been able to get the power generation that I needed. I set up an MFE, and as you can see, this thing takes 4 million EU, which is a lot. That is a lot. And the current system that I have just wasn't able to handle it. So I needed to come up with a system that I could actually use for both systems, one power generation system that I could use for both mods. And I think this is it. I think this will work. Now, as you can see, I am not using the magmatic dynamos. I'm using steam dynamos on this. The reason being, I want to dedicate all of the lava to these geothermal generators. Now, I've got 7 geothermal generators hooked up here, and it filled this guy in 5 or 10 minutes, maybe. 10 minutes at the most. So yeah, it filled this thing up fairly good. Now this open block tank was full, and as you can see, I'm down to this, but I didn't go completely dry. So I've got a little bit of buffer in here, which is good for the extra IC2 stuff. So, because once I get the MFE filled up, then the rest of the equipment will be easy to power. But this side of it here is the IC2 side, and so as you can see, I've got a insulator. I went with the high voltage. Don't necessarily really need it. You don't need it to run cable into the MFE. MFE is medium voltage, I believe. So what you need to do is use a medium voltage or high voltage cable when you go out of it. And you can't hook this up to, say, a low voltage machine. What you have to do is do a low voltage transformer. See if I can find one of them. Yeah, here we go, low voltage transformer. So what you do is you put down a low voltage transformer, and then you'd run your cable out, and then you can adjust it, and then the output here is these little guys here, and then you can power your other machines with it. So it basically just converts. The output is 32, which I think is the low voltage. Yeah, so the input is 512 and the output is 32. So yeah, so you'd have to hook this up to a low voltage transfer, and then I could run the power out this way. So this side of it here, I think, is going to suffice for my IC2 needs. This section right here, all these magma crucibles, they basically are just generating lava for this system here. This is really, you could consider it part of the IC2 side of things, because really that's what it's for. It's to put lava inside this tank, which then gets pulled out by these fluid ducts into the geothermal generators, which then generates the power for the rest of the system. Now you notice I'm not using any buildcraft here. I figured out how to use these things. What you do is you put this is just the hardened fluid duct here, and you have to use hardened for the at least hardened for the lava. But I figured out how these things work, and basically what you do is you put a servo in here, and you can filter it based on whatever. But what I did was basically just disable the redstone control, and it'll automatically start pulling stuff out of here. And the same with this. You notice it has a charcoal in here on the servo, and it'll pull the charcoal out. Now this side of it is really for the thermal side, and it's a combination of two things here. It's the power of these guys, and as you can see, it's kind of hit a steady state here as far as the generation. I probably need to add another few rows of steam dynamos here, but this is a resonant crucible, so this is the highest crucible that you can get. Now I probably won't be using resonant crucibles in my base just because they're so expensive to make, but this guy is how much is that? 3 and 3, so that's $1 million, right? So yeah, so you know, if I use hardened or say what is it, hardened or reinforced, if I use the reinforced ones, then it probably won't be that big of a deal. In other words, this may be able to handle keeping these guys fully powered. Now I'm using cobblestone. Now cobblestone takes 32,000 RF in order to melt down, so it's a lot more expensive than netherrack. Netherrack is 12,000, and the thing is, netherrack produces the same amount of lava that cobblestone does, but cobblestone costs 32,000. But the reason I wanted to go with cobblestone is I don't have to mine it. I could just set up an igneous extruder, and this one is augmented here with 2 augments. So basically it generates 32 cobblestone in one go. And this is infinite. You know, once you fill it up with lava and water, it'll just generate cobblestone as much as it needs. And see, all these are full right now. So, you know, I don't have to go and mine the netherrack, so it's more expensive. But, you know, what you do is to offset that expense, you just basically add more more dynamos. And these dynamos are relatively inexpensive to make. I mean, you know, the thing with modded is you get tons of resources. So it's not like, it's not like you're using the resources for anything else, you know. I mean, that's why you use the resources to build this kind of stuff. But as you can see, this is very modular in design. Now, whoops, fell in a hole here. I did this hole because I had to pull the lava from underneath it. Now, I needed to design this so that I could expand it if I needed to. And basically, what I can do is I can expand it this way, or I can expand it this way. You know, I can add more geothermals. You know, I can add more open tanks. I can add more crucibles. I can add more barrels. And on this, I mixed these two up here. You know, really, it's I just grabbed the wrong thing when I was adding it in there, but no biggie. As you can see, the way these are set up, you know, these are back to back, front to front. I can add another row here, which would be back to back. The next 2 rows would be front to front, back to back, and I just keep going. I can just keep going. Now this is, the footprint on this is relatively small. I mean, comparatively speaking. This right here, this system, the way it is right now, would fit very nicely inside my base level. My base level is probably about this. It's actually, what is it? It's 7 and 7, 14. It's 15 across because I got the middle block here. So what do we've got here? Let's just go out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, So this is only 12. So I could add another 2 rows of magma generator, or 2 rows of steam dynamos here. And of course these are all upgraded too, by the way. Oh well, that one isn't, but I upgraded these guys over here just to see what the performance was going to be. I don't know that it really helps, but it uses the charcoal more efficiently. That's the main thing. So I could add another couple rows here on this, and it would, it still fit within the actual space that I have now. But I can always expand those. They're underground, so I can do what I need to do. Now, what about getting power up and down? Well, I just going to tap it off here like so. So this would go up to the 2nd floor here. And then what I would probably do, what I'll probably do is use glass fiber cables for these. Just because of the loss would be a lot less. It uses the British spelling, fibre. The American spelling would be fiber. So, yeah, so these things are horribly expensive, but, so I would just tap the power off that like so, and go up to the 2nd floor, and if I need to go down, then I just do the opposite. See, and we go down. So yeah, I think it's a nice workable system. It seems to be working, and as you can see, it's slowly but surely filling up with lava. Now, it's not going to fill up with lava, instantaneously. But with these 3 tanks, I've got this one buffer level here. So I keep falling in the holes. So, these guys are all full and charged up. So once this MFE gets charged up, then, then we're good to go basically on the system. But this thing charged up, like I said, in about 5 or 10 minutes, and it was steady. It never paused. It never, before when I tried to do this, these guys ran completely dry, and it would go bam, 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 that sort of thing. But with this setup, and with this tank full, it completely filled this guy up and never stopped once. Now, if I had an MSFU set up here, okay, that may be a different story. But the MSFU is not something that I'm going to be implementing right this minute. I eventually am going to get to it because I want to build a mass fabricator so I can start making UU matter, because with UU matter you can start making basically anything you want to in the game. It's sort of the OP. It's sort of, if you remember old Tekkit and you had the transformation table, well, UU matter is sort of that transformation table kind of stuff. You can make diamonds, or you can make whatever you want to out of UU matter. What you basically do is put a UU matter in a replicator, and you give it a pattern, and it'll create whatever you want. But it takes a huge amount of energy, and honestly, I don't think you can do it without a nuclear reactor anyways. It just takes so much power, and I don't know that I can really be able to generate that much power with this system. So you probably have to go nuclear if you do that, but that's going to be down the road. I'm not worried about that right now. But as you can see, this is relatively straightforward, fairly compact, relatively speaking. But more importantly is that it actually works. I mean, this is a working system, and this guy was completely dry, and filled him up, and with a little bit left over. So, yeah. So I think this is the system I'm going to implement in my base. Now it'll take a bunch of crafting, and of course I've got all those magmatic dynamos now that I'm not going to be using. So I'll donate them to somebody or somewhere like that. But see, these guys are turned off. I'm probably out of charcoal. See, the thing about the charcoal, well, no, I've got charcoal here, so why is it not oh, it's just, you know what it is, it's using charcoal so fast that it's not getting to these. Well, you know what I can do to alleviate that situation is just to you know what, to put the barrels like right here, and then just have the servos pull them out instead of using the one barrel here, just use several of them and sort of distribute the output. That way it'll, you know, go to all the systems. So that's easily solved. That's not a problem. Barrels are cheap, and you can upgrade these guys to, you know, B space, which means they're basically infinite. So it takes a few more resources, but you know, that's modded. You know, a modded resource is not an issue. You go do mining for 2 or 3 hours with your fortune pick, and you know, you've got enough resources, or set up a quarry, which is what everybody does. And one thing I want to do, I mentioned it in the chat. Jefferson thought it was a good idea, and that is put a quarry around one of those hollow hills. So it'll just, and all you need to do is take that hollow hill down to ground level, because all the resources are basically in the roof. They all hang down, as you've seen. If you watch any of the videos, you've seen the inside of those hollow hills, and they all hang down. So just put a quarry around there, and basically what you'd have to do is you just pillar up to the top of the hollow hill. You would put a one of those markers here, and you do 4 corners, and you would set it up, and then you just set your quarry here and power it however you want to power it, and the landmarks. So you've got the 4 landmarks set up. You'll have to clear the top of the hollow hill off of any trees, because the trees will interfere with it. But once you get it cleared off, you just basically create a square around it at the top of the hollow hill, and you just do that on pillars, and then power your quarry and use the landmarks, and it'll start at the top and go down, and you'll have more resources than you could shake a stick at, because those hollow hills have a ton of resources in them. So yeah, that's just a good way to collect resources. But anyways, guys, so that's it. I just thought I'd do a little video on this, kind of show you what I'm thinking, and this seems to be a workable system. You know, the main goal on this was to fill up the MFE in a timely manner without any delays, and have extra energy so that I could power my other systems. And this seems to do it. The reason I went with charcoal is because I don't have to mine it. Now I still do have to cut down the trees, but I've got like 6 stacks of sacred oak saplings, and basically you grow one of those sacred oaks, you use your lumberjack axe on it, and you literally get, and with one tree you literally get a barrel full of wood off that thing. And in order to get the you know, of course you got all those little pieces of wood in the canopy. So what you do is you get a scythe, and you just go through and clear out all the trees, and then you just have to hop around with your jetpack and chop down all of all the logs that are sitting up there. So it takes a few minutes, but it's worth it, because in the end you're going to have literally a barrel full of logs. I'll just throw those into my redstone furnace, and it'll zip right through them, and then I'll have a charcoal coming out of my ears. So charcoal's not going to be a problem. You know, it's, again, not quite as efficient as the magmatic dynamos, but I don't have to mine the netherrack, and I think in the long run it'll be a better system. And yeah, these guys are running out of coal, because it's the coal delivery system. It just isn't up to snuff. But that's easily fixed, because we'll just stick the barrels here, and we'll have more than enough coal to so what you do on these is show you real quick here. And let's see, I need a servo. It took me a while to figure out how these servos work, but yeah, they work good, so I don't really have to use any Buildcraft stuff. Not that Buildcraft stuff's bad. I mean, it's got some really nice features. There's you know, Buildcraft has those logic gates built into them, so yeah, they're quite nice. And I think you do it this way, like so. Okay, let's see. Let's get some charcoal here. Oop. My microphone sits right on top of my keyboard, so that's why I can't type when I'm trying to record. Now is it pulling it out of there? Oh, here we go. These come default to redstone high, so you could switch them off and on, but I don't really need to do that at this point. So it should start pulling them. Yeah, there it goes. See, it's pulling them down. So something like that will solve the charcoal problem. Now I don't know if there's a particular pattern that these uses or not. I'll have to kind of study it and see how it goes. It looks like it'll just go to the nearest inventory, nearest available into inventory on the system. That's kind of what it looks like. These remind me a lot of the Red Power Red Power pneumatic tubes. They seem to operate very similar to that. But yeah, see, here we go. So we're starting to fill these up. So, well, guys, that's it. That's my little power generation system. I've been messing around with it, thinking about it. I think this will work. It seems to be working pretty well. It really filled up that MFE quite nicely. I was really pleased with it. Now, as you can see, it's not generating a ton of lava here because it takes a lot to do the cobblestone. But just at the time that we've been talking, this middle section has just about filled up halfway. So it's not bad. It'll let it run for a little while and it'll be back up full. So yeah, so I think this is definitely a working system, and then of course you just run the taps off it, and we've got one power generation system for the whole base, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. It's going to be a lot of crafting and you know, a lot of making, but you know, that's just part of the deal. That's part of the deal. I'm real pleased with how compact it is, relatively speaking, of course, and how modular it is, because it really is modular. You could just, you know, boom, 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 and you're ready to go, and boom, 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 you're ready to go here as the need arises. So, alrighty, guys. Well, there's the power generation system. So appreciate it, and I'll talk to you again in the next one. Bye bye now.